let me start by asking you this. Have you ever heard the name Cadex? If not, well, I bet you've almost certainly heard the name Giant Bicycles. Giant introduced the Cadex carbon fibre road bike back in 1987, becoming the first bicycle manufacturer to apply computer-aided design and volume production techniques to high-end carbon fibre road bikes. At that time, carbon fibre bikes were really only offered by a handful of niche brands and small-scale custom builders, so Giant's Cadex bikes marked a step change for carbon fibre, moving it from a niche into the mainstream. Over the next decade, Cadex carbon bikes continued to evolve, expanding from road into mountain bikes too. But then, in 1997, Giant came to market with its revolutionary Total Compact Road geometry, another new benchmark for the industry, and the Cadex name was retired. Now, 24 years on, the Cadex brand is to be reborn, and you could say continuing on where it left off, pushing the boundaries in carbon fibre construction, only this time beginning with a range of wheels. Of course, we've all heard it said a million times, you can't reinvent the wheel. Only right now that's not strictly true, because the coming of disc brakes has, to a certain extent, afforded wheel manufacturers heaps more newfound freedom to at least reinvent rim shapes, as they no longer need to factor in a braking surface and clearance for a traditional brake caliper. Although it should be noted that Cadex is still going to offer some rim brake options in its wheel lineup. In a nutshell then, that basically means that the modern rim shape has become much wider, and in the case of these Cadex wheels, embracing hookless rim technology too. With those wider rim profiles, the most important dimension really is the internal rim width, because that's the one that really affects the tyre's profile, and it's that as a system which wheel and tyre manufacturers are now realising has substantial potential performance benefits. Why? Because a tyre will perform more optimally effectively if you can create this more rounded profile, a kind of an inverted U, where the sidewalls are more upright, because that gives them more support for stability, also reduces rolling resistance and can improve therefore comfort and grip, because you can use lower tyre pressures. There's also an aerodynamic benefit too, as with that smooth profile, even with a wider tyre, you get that nice transition of the airflow from the tyre sidewall onto the rim. That improves the frontal area drag as well as its performance and stability in crosswinds. Not only does that hookless rim design maximise that internal rim width, it also means that the rims can be stronger and lighter too, so a number of benefits. If you want a deeper dive into why wider tyres and wider rims can actually make us faster, then we've actually got a video about exactly that on the YouTube channel already, and I'll pop a link to that in the description below. Another notable feature of the new Cadex wheels is the use of carbon fibre spokes. That helps reduce weight, and the 42mm version we have here are indeed fairly svelte at a claimed 1,327 grams a pair, but the brand says its carbon spokes also improve aerodynamics too, thanks to each one having a truncated aerofoil shape. We've seen other wheel brands use carbon spokes in the past, but it's also the way Cadex has approached the tensioning that is quite a new and radical concept. Wheels are usually built and balanced off the bike, and so, in use, when they are required to cope with the significant forces that acceleration and braking places upon them, then it upsets the equilibrium. The drive side spokes in rear wheels, for instance, are subjected to much higher torsional loads as you accelerate. Similarly, a disc brake also places a huge torsional force mainly on one side of the wheel. So, to combat this, Cadex's wheels use a technology the brand calls DBL, or Dynamic Balanced Lacing. What that refers to is, unlike all of its competitors, Cadex wheels are calibrated such that the spoke tensions are optimal when they are dynamically loaded rather than when static. The result, the brand says, is greater stiffness when accelerating, along with better responsiveness for improved handling and cornering. Now, the eagle-eyed amongst you will have noticed also that Cadex has created its own high-performance tubeless tyres to sit alongside its wheels. Created around an unyielding carbon Kevlar bead, Cadex says this both guarantees a secure fitment with the hookless rim, ensuring safety, plus it says its tubeless tyres are now even easier to set up than on a traditional hooked type rim. It goes so far as to say that users should be able to readily set up their tubeless tyres using a conventional track pump. We decided to put this to the test, and if you want to see the video of me doing that, then click the link that's about to pop up on the screen or the one in the description below. Suffice to say though, it was a resounding success. Definitely the most user-friendly tubeless tyre setup I have ever tested, delivering exactly as promised, with the tyres inflating instantly with just a standard track pump.
Another benefit of its tyres, Cadex says, is that unlike many of its competitors, you only require sealant in the tyre if you want it for its puncture sealing potential. It's not required at all to create the airtight seal initially or to make the tyre sidewalls airtight. However, all that said, Cadex realises of course that not all riders will want to use its own tyres, so it has worked exclusively with third-party tyre brands such as Schwalbe and Maxxis, to name just two, to create an ever-growing list of approved tyres. The link to the list will also be in the description below.
Now you'll notice that throughout this video I have referred to these by the Cadex brand and not the parent company Giant. And that is because Giant is launching Cadex as a separate entity to focus specifically on high-end performance products. That means it can still leverage and use the vast resources and experience of the biggest bicycle manufacturer in the world, but it doesn't constrain them to a single brand at the consumer level. There's no reason why these Cadex wheels would look out of place on any bike. The goal for the Cadex brand then is clear, and that is to once again reinstate it at the pinnacle of cycling, just as it was in the 80s and 90s. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you did, do give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Click the bell icon too if you want to receive notifications every time we upload new and exciting content. Also head over to cyclist.co.uk for all the latest news, tech and in-depth product and bike reviews. Thanks for watching, see you next time.